There we go. We got you tagged. So how's everyone else this Friday morning? We're getting we got snow here. So, oh, did Rose freeze? So today, Rose and I are going to be talking about scalability and what that means in terms of an affiliate marketing business or just an online marketing business. Because when you're new, you're just trying to get out there and you're not really thinking about that long-term process of scalability and how you're going to accomplish that. So, and Rose has been going through a lot of that this week, so I'll let her take it away to start off here.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of posts that people have been sharing from a particular person that I do not like, but that does have some decent business ideas. And one of the things that they said was, don't follow your passion first, follow what's going to make you money. And I was like, that's bad advice. But it's not fully bad advice because as with content, when we talk about if you niche down too much, you've now really limited your audience. The same thing can happen if your product is a super niche product, right? Now, I'm not saying that it can't work, but if your product is something that only speaks to, let's say, 10,000 people, that is your entire market.
Right.
But if you have a broader topic that maybe 200,000 people are into, now you've got scalability. Now you start with your smaller audience and then you can expand it out, right? Yeah. And so I think that's the piece a lot of people forget is they're like, oh, well, I'm really into this. And I know these 5 people are really into this. And so these 5 people will pay $100 for this. So that's what I'm going to do. And then those 5 people buy and then you're like, oh, maybe other people aren't really into this.
And there's my wall.
So if you hit your scalability first, then you can do your little passion project that probably isn't going to make you as much, but then you get the multiple income streams. So it wasn't entirely bad advice. I think it was just presented in a bad way.
Well, yeah. And I think that part of that is when the people talk about it, a lot of times it's coming from people who have obviously scaled massively, right? And so bringing that back down to you're new, you're just starting out, or you've only been at it for a little while. You're not there. You're not in that far off space where you have all the different people working for you. You've got an incredible team that's, building out all your stuff. And basically you're mostly the face and the idea person. I do everything. They're still in solopreneur stage, right? Which a lot of us are. And so when we think about scalability, you start thinking about it in smaller terms. You get in and your first goal is obviously most likely going to be making money, right? And however that is, whether you're going to do it with products or you're going to actually join the MMO world or, you're selling services, however that's going to work out for you, however you're looking at that. But it's okay to be sort of myopic in the beginning because you're still learning. But part of your learning process should be, how can I build out on this? And if you're building a little bit bigger in the beginning, that offers you more opportunities to send out more tendrils and also to build on and on and on. Your niche should be narrow enough that it has a target, but not so narrow that your target is a target of one.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Like again with the whole fairies, if you only want to do fairy readings for vegans, you might have a hard time expanding from that. Or not.
Yeah.
But it's going to definitely limit your audience. It's going to definitely limit some things for you. And scalability also means a lot of things, like in your case, education, a book, journaling, having the ability to do upsells and outsells and that sort of thing. So you're not just selling one product, you're building on that. So it may be, for me, it's a lot about education. So as I help different people with different things, I can eventually pull that all together into a single course and, a single support system and then do that. But I can also piecemeal that out as well, and each one of those things becomes an opportunity as I grow and build my own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I ran into is my initial product is a physical product, which I've not dealt in those realms before. So I had to figure out, like, okay, well, how do I distribute this? Because I'm not a business on Amazon per se. I don't do drop shipping with Amazon, so ordering it direct to the customer would be difficult. And it'd be a high volume computer work, right? And so I was like, okay, well, I need a shipping center basically where I can store and send. But I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do that when it gets to thousands and thousands and thousands. So, I want to outsource that because I understand the value of having a team with an undertaking like this. And I thankfully happen to know people that have the storage space and have the time available to do this kind of stuff. So I've already kind of got my, like, as I scale, here's my, core people that are going to help me scale. And then after they're just tapped out, I'll have to go searching. But a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people look at Brock Johnson or Jonathan Montoya or Dave Sharp or all these gurus, and they're not doing everything themselves. They've got an entire team behind them. And they're very honest about it. Like, Brock especially, he's like, Brock Johnson is not just me. He's like, I've got like 30 people who manage my Instagram and make sure the right posts go out at the right time. He's like, don't compare yourself to me if you're just starting out. And that's, I think, what a lot of people miss. They look at these people and they're like, but they're doing it. And it's like, yeah, but they've been doing it for a while. They started making money. Then they hired out a team. And that's what really got them, was they hit that scalable part. And so, even if you don't have friends that can do it, reaching out to Fiverr, reaching out to Upwork, reaching out across, or if you're into digital marketing, reach out into your group, right? You're fantastic at Facebook covers. So a lot of people have been like, hey, Dawna, can you help me make a Facebook cover that really pops, right? And so you never know where your support structure might be coming from. But understanding that as you scale, you're probably going to need more than just you. And there's a lot of the stuff that, like, I've thought on outsourcing that I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I don't want to.
Well, yeah.
I'd rather pay someone else to do it, to leave me free to go hike with the dogs while they handle the back end.
I understand that wholly. With the publishing business, when I first started building it, I built my website and did all of that and realized I hate doing that. I absolutely despise doing that. I can maintain it, but I don't want to build it. So yeah, I absolutely reached out to my network and said, okay, I'm looking for someone who can build a horror website that isn't too off-putting. It's for books and magazines and stuff like that. So, like, let's keep it professional, but also horror. Good morning, Claire. And so I reached out to somebody because even though I have the skills, I don't want to, right? I just don't want to. And it'll be the same thing. As soon as I'm at a point where I will outsource things for certain conversations and things like that, just because, I don't want to do that. The final conversation, absolutely. But there's certain things, like you say, if you don't want to be tied to your computer or whatever, as you grow, you need to know that you can build out on that.
100%.
And so, like, another part of scalability is your traffic sources. Don't lock yourself into a single space, because if Facebook goes down, or, like we had that when Twitter went down, and, like, I don't know if you probably weren't part of Twitter at the time, but Twitter went down. And no, it was Facebook went down and Twitter just blew up because people were losing their minds because they didn't have their Facebook accounts. And then not that long after, it was the reverse, right? And, and I'm seeing now people on Etsy are getting their accounts closed down, just boom, 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 boom. And it's like, I'm noticing it higher and higher that people are losing their accounts. And these are long-standing accounts. These are accounts that are making lots of money. And they're losing it. So make sure that you're not stuck on just one platform. If you're building out products, Etsy's great, but there are other places that you can also sell that, so that you're not locked into one place. And if you lose a channel, you're not suddenly without anything.
Yeah. Yeah, if I plan on the project that I'm currently working on. Obviously, I'm going to start with Facebook organic because we already have an audience for what we're building out.
Yeah.
But we don't know how that's going to go. But the hope is that it goes well and we make enough that we can pay for targeted ads and go from there, right? But if the Facebook went down right before I was going to launch, I still have physical places here in the valley and like that I can go to and organically market and kind of start promoting it and whatnot. And there's a fair amount of people on one of my Instagram accounts that are into what we're building out as well. So I wouldn't be completely shot in the foot.
Well, yeah, and you also have your YouTube and everything else, which you could, and
Yeah.
you've tapped into the whole idea of how to monetize that and make that work for you and to build your audience. So again, you're not locked into it. I see people who are literally nowhere else.
Well, they were told when they started out, focus on one platform and get really good at that one platform, which is terrible advice.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to be good at a platform, but yeah, you don't want to lock yourself in because you can't grow from there. Right.
Yeah. Well, and we've already seen it, right? What works for Facebook doesn't work for TikTok, doesn't necessarily work for Instagram. So, like, just because you're good at one platform doesn't mean that that's going to carry over to the others. Each platform is its own little ecosystem.
So Claire says, dial into what you love, and you can't eliminate what bores you. Oh, and if you can't eliminate what bores you,
yes, I love Claire.
Yeah, absolutely. Outsource what bores your pants off, man. Mm-hmm. But you know,
or in my case, frustrates me, right? Like I love CRM management to an extent, but when I'm trying to build something out and it's not working, I get frustrated with technology so quickly. And that's why Facebook was never my platform, because like I don't want to sit here and be on the computer all day. It's just not my jam. That's why I'll never be a coach, because like, you know, I have mad respect for coaches, and especially the coaches that we, are talking with and whatnot. But I'm like, that's not what my vision of my business is.
And see, that is mine. That's funny because I'm all about that sort of thing where I'm being able to help people and guide people into where they're going. It's why I took psychology in university. It's why I took, why I became a certified clinical hypnotherapist. These are the reasons why I got into all of that, was because I always want to be able to help people. So,
I want to help people by directing them to the right coaches.
Well, connecting is great, right? Being able to connect people with the right tools and things that they need is fantastic. But again, I think that that's a skill as well. Not everybody can do that. And, some people are just way too closed off to even know the people for that, right? You talk to, if you're friendly enough.
Or spicy nice, in my opinion.
Yes. Well,
in my case.
But I consider that friendly, right? And so back to scalability, and you were talking about ad spend, right?
Yeah.
That's another one. When you first start out, you're probably not going to spend on ads. And if you do, you're not going to know where you're spending it. So all that money is just going to go probably into the ether, because you haven't done the work and the research needed to figure out where to spend that money. But as you scale, focus on that. If you really want to be able to spend ads to draw customers to you and clients to you, then you really have to do the research and figure out who those people are, where they're at, and then you can start doing your ad spend. But again, with ad spend, you're going to do it small at first and then get bigger and bigger. And as you get bigger, you're going to spend a lot more on ads. And that's going to happen because you're not going to be wanting to spend all your time doing the organic stuff. You're going to have a mix, right?
And eventually you'll probably outsource to an ads manager.
Yep. And have them handle that nonsense for you. But again, that's where scalability is. It starts small, just like with everything else, start where you're at. So if you're brand new, you're probably going to just be, your scalability is going to be making sure that the content that you make can be repurposed and put in different areas. You're going to make sure that you can take a long form and break it down into a smaller form so that you can paste it in other places. That's going to be your scalability.
Yeah, our shorts that have come from this, because I've been scheduling them on YouTube instead of just doing my Instagram to YouTube trick, have been getting way more views because I'm using YouTube correctly for that purpose. Now, they're not getting as many views on my Instagram. That's okay because they're longer form and people are still getting used to the longer form, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it.
Speaking of which, I will have 3 more for you but today I have 3 done. I did a 3. I just didn't get them to you because this week has been a bit crazy.
For both of us, yeah, I understand. Well, it's so funny because you have pro editing software and I don't. Like, I was trying to put the closed captions in like you did. Every time it was like denied, so I uploaded mine without the captions. But I did love. I
Oh
saw the one
wait,
that you
when
did
I
with all the
down,
emojis.
oh, did I not give you with captions?
You did for 6, 7. I just did on my own to see if I could do it.
Gotcha.
But it's okay. I don't want all of it to fall on you for the podcast. So
See, these are my hidden skills. This is the stuff where I'm like, I should be able to do this because I tried it. I tried it with one of these clip places, and I'm like, wait a minute, I should be able to do this. I have the skills for this.
I love it. And again,
So,
like scalability, right? You're a good video editor. You could absolutely, if someone's building out YouTube channels, they're like, I don't have time to video edit anymore. There you go. Go to Dawna. One of my favorite YouTubers, whose name is escaping me right now, and I feel so freaking terrible for this. Simon Whistler. Simon Whistler is a fantastic Brit who lives in Czechia now. And I love his stuff. He's got, I think, 12 or 15 channels, and he's got at least one podcast, if not more. And he's to the point that he doesn't write his scripts, he doesn't edit his videos. He gets the script, he reads, records it, sends it to the video editor, and they edit, drop some spicy memes in, and like they post, right? Like he does not handle a lot of the back end stuff anymore because he's got too much going on with all of his channels, which are all educational and all fantastic. But it's been really fun to see his personality come out in more of his channels because when he first started, it was very, professional, very dry, very da-da-da. And then he had a few that he was like, this is just going to be me unhinged, basically, like him being him. And it was fantastic and it did really well. And so now he's brought his personality into some of his other channels because it works. But it's just been fun to see his evolution. But again, like he's very honest about it. He's like, I just got the script. I haven't even read it. I'm going to be reacting to it in real time because that's what that channel is, right? Obviously, with his more historical ones, he does read through the script. But
right.
and that's the thing. He knew that he needed to start outsourcing. And if you're making the money, you can outsource. And I think that's the part where people really struggle when they're starting out too, is they're like, well, I want to outsource this, this, and this, but I don't have the capital to invest in that. That's
right.
fine. Start small and then invest, right?
Exactly.
Or,
And
good.
I think that either you get told you don't have to invest anything, or you get told you have to invest everything.
Yep.
Right? You've got to do all these things all at once. And it's like, no, you need to. A plant doesn't go from a seed to a full blown oak in 2 weeks. It doesn't happen, right? It takes time and it takes nurturing and it takes progress and process. And I think that people, because they want that big everything all at once, they think either I have to do all of it or they get overwhelmed by the whole concept of like, oh my God, I've got, this great huge thing that I want to do, but it's too much. And it's like, baby steps. Take your time, take your steps, but keep in mind your goal and set your mini goals along the way. And when you're doing your scalability, it's the same. You're not going to go from 0 to full grown or your ultimate plan in one step. You're scaling. A scale means many steps. You're going to take many steps. And so, you have to keep that in mind and set your plan, make your plans, do your research, figure out where you want to be. And if it doesn't work, that's okay.
Yeah.
Just because you went somewhere and you thought it was going to go somewhere and it didn't, that's okay. What did you learn? What processes did you learn along the way? What tools did you learn? What people did you connect with? Because maybe it didn't work for that particular area, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work for another area. Or maybe you found an offshoot from what you were doing, has more profitability or resonates better with your audience or whatever it is. don't just throw, as they say, the baby out with the bathwater, right? Like,
Yeah.
just because it didn't work here doesn't mean that you didn't gain some valuable information from that, and that you can use that to do better or do more with your next step. And that's, I mean,
Yes.
that's just life in general, right?
Yeah.
We get so lost and so caught up in the, oh my God, I failed, or I'm gonna fail, or, we put pride before the actual action. Well,
Yeah.
what if I fail? Well, what if you do? So
Yeah.
what?
Or even better, what if everything goes right and you succeed? Why does everyone focus on the negative? Start thinking positively.
Yeah, well, I mean,
You know?
and honestly, what you put out there is what you're going to get back. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you buy a blue Prius, you get on the road, all of a sudden, all you see are all the Priuses, and how many are in the same color as yours, which you never saw before. Wow, did everybody
Yep.
suddenly buy? No, that is cognitive bias. And
Yep.
so, what you look for, what you expect is what you're going to see. And that will be the same in your business, as in your personal life, as in your professional life. It doesn't matter. What you train your eyes for is what you're going to see.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I'm kind of taking the Jeff Bezos approach to this. So, like, regardless of how you feel about Amazon or Jeff Bezos now, I have mad respect for early Jeff Bezos, because what he did was went to investors and went, hey, I need this money. You're not going to see a profit for probably 10 years. And they were like, I'm sorry, what? And he convinced a lot of them to invest on the expectation of not seeing a profit for the first decade. Now, that's business. That's the ability to sell your product, right?
And sell your product, sell your vision of what it is that you want to do. Because he didn't just come to them with, I think this is going to be a great idea, guys. We should totally do this, right?
Yeah.
He laid out his step-by-step process, what he expected to see along the way. It was structured. He understood that if he was going to ask people to invest in a concept that was going to take a decade to come to fruition, he had to show the steps. He had to show how it was going to grow and what was going to happen along the way. Right?
Exactly. So. And Elon Musk did something sort of similar with Tesla, but his didn't work out quite as well as Bezos's did. I don't mean from a long-term standpoint when it was first launched and it was more expensive than he'd promised the investors and they were a little pissed off. But anyways, again, going back to Bezos. So when I approached my network of people that I was talking about will help me scale, I was like, hey, look, this is what we're building. This is how I'm going to launch it. I'm going to show you guys everything I'm doing. This could epically fail, in which case this conversation's pointless, other than you get a front row seat to my failure. Or
entertainment.
Right? Or let's do the math real fast. This project does this. And they were like, whoa. I was like, right. So here's where I envision you in this when it does this. But understand that the first month it might do this. And they were like, no, cool, we're on board. Fantastic, right? So they're involved in every step at this point. It's a full collab because I'm like, I'm going to send you exactly what I'm doing. I'll tell you what, how it needs recorded. I'm going to send you what we're going to present so you guys can look it over. We're game planning it as a team basically right now. There's no money being made yet at all. But they know me. They know that I'm business oriented. And they're like, you know what? That sounds interesting enough that, yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, because they're not just, I mean, they know you, which is helpful, right? But they're not just betting on you. You've given them the outline of what your plan is, and they know you well enough to know that you're a person who follows your plan. Because, planning is a big part of your scalability and, getting that set in motion. Coming into it with a plan, or even if you came into it with just, this is what I'm doing, because we all come into it basically at that space where it's like, okay, I'm jumping in. And, you've got grandiose ideas, but you have zero idea how you're going to get there, right? Because you get sold on all the ideals and the concepts and whatnot. But that's okay. So you might be just, you just jumped in the pool and now you're like, holy shit, what do I do next? Right?
Wait, I need a stroke and kick? What?
What? Can I just float for a minute? But Meanwhile, there's people doing this all around you,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
You got the ones telling you gotta learn to swim, you gotta learn to dive, you gotta learn to do this, that. I just want to not drown at the moment, thank you.
Right.
Right?
You need me an
But
Olympic level butterfly stroker. Really? It's a doggy paddle over here for a minute, okay?
I'm just gonna hang off the edge of the pool. So if that's where you are, that's okay. And that's because we all started there. And I don't care who it was, like even people who were, massive salespeople in the real world, like, car sellers or clothing sellers or whatever, they that's their job. And then they jump into this online market and all of a sudden they're like, wait, this is not the same. That's okay. But if you're going to do it, come in with a bit of a plan. Once you get your feet settled, think about it. Do your research. Is this what I've jumped into? Is it scalable? Is it something that I can build on or build out from? Am I focused on a single platform, or am I making sure that my content and what I'm doing can be on multiple platforms, including email, including a website or your blog or whatever, multiple video platforms? You've got to make sure that you're not just stuck into one little space or that your content is only one little thing. Can I build on this? Is there a way for me to build on this? And it doesn't matter if it's books or videos or memberships or educational, whatever. Can I build on this? Can I grow from this? And you might not be able to at first. And that's okay. But you need to be in the mindset, can I grow from this? Where is this going to go? Because where you start is not where you're going to end up. No. And you're not going to go from a seed to a tree in 3 weeks.
I love that so much.
So, it's just, I'm excited for you because you've got your new project that you're getting together and that you're going to be announcing soon. You're in the process of pre-launch right now as you get everything set up. So that's exciting.
Yes, it is exciting. Like I told you, I was not sleeping last week. This week I've been not sleeping, but my body's been forcing me to rest. So I think I kind of overdid it. But like I said, it really helped me mentally clarify what I wanted it to look like and how to make it sustainably scalable. Because that was one of the problems that I was having is I was like, oh, I can have a printed copy for every single thing. And then I was like, that's a lot of inventory to keep a hold of. And then I figured out how to structure it better, make it better for the customer as well as my shipping station. But that's the benefit of collaboration, right? That's the benefit of having to take a break and talk it through. I think so many people get the idea in their head of well, I need to not talk about this until it's live, which I get. I've had many times that I've talked about something that's supposed to happen and then it doesn't. And I'm like, why did I even say anything? I should have just kept my mouth shut. But, the ability to talk things out can sometimes, even if you're talking out loud, just to the trees when you're walking your dog, right? That can help you really work through whatever block you're at.
I talk to myself consistently. I used to laugh because I'd be walking to my car from work, getting out whatever it is I needed to get out for that day because, work and whatnot. Blah, 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 blah. Walk into my car and this woman's looking at me and I'm like, I don't have any earphone thingies in.
Right.
Whatever. And, at least when I was in my car, it would be they can assume that I'm singing to the radio when really I'm just ranting out my ideas and thoughts.
Yep. I love it. I love it so much. But yeah, my dad used to always laugh because I call him and be like, all right, what plan are we on now? Because he's like, doesn't matter if it's plan A or plan Z. Well, he's American. He'd say Z. But,
Actually, you're using the Canadian term.
I did live in New Zealand for a year. I picked up some stuff. But he's like, it doesn't matter if it's plan A or plan Z, but you always have a plan. And I was like, well, yeah, you taught me that, was to always have a plan. And, I'm probably on plan double D right now. I've gone through the alphabet, we're circling back. But, gotta keep going. That's all there is to it, right? I'm not gonna, there's no quitting for me.
I understand that.
Too much going and yeah, I'm not dealing with bosses and HR departments and stupidity anymore. I can't.
I 1000% understand that. Yeah, over it. As they say, I'm too old for that shit. I've dedicated my life from like when I was literally, like 12 years old, and I'm a taxi cab dispatcher. I've been babysitting since I was 9. I've been working for someone else my entire life. I don't want to. And it's funny because my husband plays this game called State of Decay 2, right? And when you first get started, the teammates that he have whine all the time about everything. We need a home. We need this. We need that. And I get sick. So my commentary is, man, I would be like, so come to me with a solution. You keep coming to me with a problem. I don't want your problems. Your problems don't help. We may have problems. We may have things that need to be fixed. But if you're not coming to me with a solution, shut the hell up. Right? I got no time for your nonsense.
Well, and that's why I've done multiple videos of stop talking about your product. Talk about what problem your product solves. Because that's what you're selling. You're selling the solution. You're not selling the product itself. Yeah. The product is the solution, of course. But you've got to sell them on the solution, right?
Well, exactly. You're not selling the features. You're not selling the product. You're selling what it can do for you, how it's going to solve problems that you have. And it's hard to get that flip around if that's not your natural way of thinking, right?
Yeah, it is.
It takes practice to get to that space. And it also takes knowing your product, whatever that is going to be, knowing it well enough to understand how it's going to benefit. And you can utilize tools to help you get there as well. Like ChatGPT, if you ask it the right questions, it will start giving you some answers that you can look at and go, oh, okay. It'll help you reframe some of your thinking. But I mean, again, that's another process. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm already in that process, so I guess that's probably a step ahead. But
I mean, and that's the thing. Reason we have this conversation is not for people who are at the exact same level as us, right? I mean, although you're more than welcome to be here, and if you,
I would argue Claire's over our level if she was here. So.
Well, yeah, yes, absolutely, but that's cool too, right? Because we are always open to feedback. If somebody sees something that they want to know more about, or if they want to drop a comment that we can expand on, we're always welcome and happy to see that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is honestly going to be mostly for people who are a step or two behind us and where we're at in our journey, or, right along with us and can feel the camaraderie there. Right.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Right. Because there's plenty of people out there who are, way far ahead of us in their journeys. And we're not competition to them, but we're not competition to the people who are behind us or beside us either. It's a very vast world out there. We don't need to be your competition. We're your comrades. We're your friends.
The only people I compete with is who I was yesterday, unless it's ice baths, in which case I will compete with Peter to see who can do a longer ice bath, because that's just how we are.
I'm not a competitive person. I'm a collaborative person. I do not believe in competition. No, it's not true. It's not that I don't believe in competition. I just know that it's not in my nature.
Fair enough. Yeah. I do get competitive with my significant other when we go to the shooting range, because I grew up in the country and he was in the Air Force. So it's always fun when I can outshoot him.
Okay, I was competitive with my ex-husband on shooting bow and arrow, because he would have all the blings, all the stuff on his compound bow, sights, and all the rest of them. I'm like, get that crap off my bow. I don't need any of that. Yes, you can Robin Hood and arrow, but look at your bow.
Right? Yeah. I did the same thing. I was like, oh, that's cute. You got a red dot? Let me show you iron sights, baby.
So maybe there.
Maybe there. But in this space, the only person I'm in competition with when it comes to my business is who I was yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? When you can get into that space, it makes it a lot easier to not get as stressed out seeing other people's successes or whatnot, and have that gnaw at you.
Yeah.
Right? You can see, you use them as benchmarks, not so much as, why am I not there yet? So
if you can't get to that point, just unfollow them or like, you know, mute them in your feed or like do whatever you got to do, right?
Yeah, like if their success or their stated success, because let's be honest, not everybody who's talking about their success is really having that success.
Yeah.
Because it's showing on Instagram a million times, people having these lavish, lush, perfect lifestyles, these perfect homes, these perfect kids, these perfect everything, and behind the scenes is nothing like that. It's absolute chaos, and because that's where reality lives, is behind the camera, behind the words. But yeah, if it's causing you distress, just walk away from it. You don't need it.
Yeah. I mean, you should be absolutely, you know, learning from those that are further ahead than you. But again, like if you're following people who are too far ahead of you and it's causing you anxiety or stress or whatever, you them, unfollow them. Do what you got to do to keep yourself motivated.
Absolutely. And not every, and it could just be a matter of they just don't resonate with the way that you learn or think or, and so it could just simply be a personality clash. You don't have to like everybody just because they make money.
Yeah.
Right? Like
There are a lot of people that make money that I can't stand. But I'm very honest about it.
I have a few of those. My husband gets to hear it. It's been fun, my dear.
This has been fun. It's been great.
I'm excited for you. So I can't wait.
Try not to release too much until it's
I don't care. I'm still excited for you. I'm still going to be excited for you. So there. As always, if you catch the replay, just drop a replay. Let us know that you've been by. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If there's anything you'd like us to talk about next week, again, drop them in the comments. Last week's will be gone live.
Yes. And
this one will be available on YouTube next week. I will drop the link to our new channel. So now that there's no more duplicates of anything anywhere, we all have it in one space. And by all means, come and follow us on YouTube. Yes. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.